She comes out the room and she's like, hey, it's something I need to tell you. And I'm like, okay, you're an international drug dealer. And she's like, no, I'm not an international drug dealer. Why would you think I was an international drug dealer? I'm more of a domestic drug dealer. I was like, girl. And she was like, well, I really don't even sell drugs, Tom. I just more so like coordinate the transportation of the drugs. That's all I do. You know what I'm saying? Like I make sure trucks go to different places, cars go to different places, stuff get picked up, stuff get dropped off all over. Right. And I'm like, why didn't you just say that? Right. And she was just like, well, I mean, who tells somebody that they're, in this life and we was getting to know each other and it's just something happened. You would have never even seen any of this if something just didn't happen and I sort of got to go to work. I was planning on taking this whole time off. I was going to surprise you. I got tickets to the Grammys. I got tickets to like 3 pre-parties. You know what I'm saying? Like we was really about to go leave, get your tuxedo and all this stuff. Like we were really going to take in LA, but it's some stuff I got to do real quick. I just need you to be cool with it. Now, I ain't no like green dude to the streets. Like, you know what I'm saying? I got friends. I got some friends that then dabbled in some stuff. So it ain't like I'm just like some infant out here like scared of what's going on. So I sat in the room. She left. I ordered room service. Like, I felt like a woman for real. Cause she had peeled me off some money to go get my hair cut and, all this stuff. And I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I ain't talking about like $4 or $5. I'm not talking about $40, ladies. I'm talking like she peeled me off like $4,000 and was like, go get this done and da. So I come down to the hotel lobby and I see the two dudes, like the 2 Crips, they was still sitting in the lobby, like talking to each other or whatever. So when I came down, it was like, big homie, come here, big homie, come here. Hey, so we in here, we talking. Now, you tell me, we got a black president, right? Don't you think the black president should be doing some black people stuff? Cause it seemed like he don't be doing nothing for black people. And so now I'm still high. And so my brain like firing off all these things. And I'm like, you know something? I'm not going to disagree with you, but I think what you thinking is he's supposed to do things that directly affect every black person. And that's sort of not how politics work. And so we sat there for like an hour having a political conversation about the inability of Barack Obama to connect with African Americans at eye level. And like I'm telling you, to this day, one of the best conversations I ever had. I don't know what kind of weed that was. I don't know if that was the Dr. Seuss or whatever they call it, but that weed had me in my brain for real. So she comes back. I'm still in the lobby. I was supposed to go get a haircut. I'm supposed to go do all this stuff. So I'm still in the lobby. So she comes back to the room. Comes back to the hotel. She grabbed me. She's like, hey, we need to talk upstairs. And she's like, I got a problem. She's like, I got 3 trucks that need to leave right now, and I only got 1 driver. And if these trucks don't get to where they need to go, I'm going to be in some trouble. And I'm like, what kind of trouble? She like, trouble. And she's like, can you help me? So I'm like, what about the 2 dudes downstairs? And she's like, I don't know. I don't like using them, man. They weird. They like homies with the other dude. But I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I just talked to them. They seem pretty cool. You should, utilize them or whatnot. And she like, that's still only, I'm like, well, look, I can drive a truck. And I'm like, she like, you can drive a truck? I'm like, yeah, I can drive a truck. Now in my head, I'm still high. Now, y'all keep forgetting I'm still high. And I'm like, yeah, I can drive a truck. And I'm like, this is a bad decision. But then I'm like, I'm immersing myself in the LA lifestyle. Like I've been hanging out with 2 real Crips for like the last 2 hours. You know what I'm saying? I'm on some gang shit right now. The 2 dudes, they take me to this spot. And it was some of the weirdest stuff on the way there. So they like, hey, you gotta get some chicken from this spot, da. So we go get the chicken before we go to the spot to pick the trucks up. Now the trucks is empty. All we gotta do is they empty trucks. They didn't have nothing in them. We just had to take these trucks somewhere so they could get filled up or whatever. They take me to this chicken spot in the hood. Like, it didn't even have no name on it. It was just in the hood. And so this is around the time, I don't know if y'all hip to like that whole ghost ride the whip. Ghost ride the whip. So We pull up in front of the chicken spot. I get out. It's like a little drive-through window, but it ain't no like drive around. It was just that's the only way you could order the food. So I go up to the window. They like, you gotta order this, this, and this. So we ordered it and we waiting on the food. All of a sudden, this car comes flying, screeching past us, like probably doing about 40, 50 miles an hour. This dude gets out the car and stands on the door, like the door window part of the car, and his hands on the ceiling, and the dude on the passenger side hanging out. There's nobody like actively driving the car. He takes his foot, spins it around. The car does like a 360. He loses control of the car. The car spins and hits a pole. Dude flies out. The other dude flies on the ground. All of this is happening while we waiting on this chicken, right? And so I'm like, LA crazy. And dude, like, man, this just a regular old day. This just a regular old day in LA. And I'm like, it's like my blood boiling. I'm like, this just, you know what I'm saying? This is lightweight fun, but at the same time, like, you know, they could have just died. So we ordered a chicken fire. Like, I don't know if it's because we was high, I had the munchies, but this chicken, like, I mean, it's the best damn chicken I never had in my life. I'm sitting here, God damn, I'm eating this chicken like a Hebrew slave, like just, and we go to the place, get the trucks. I drive one truck, they drive the other two trucks. We take the trucks, it probably took us like about 40 minutes to take them like somewhere. So we took the trucks. I go back to the room. She's like, you just really bailed me out. Like, you just really bailed me out. I owe you a really good night. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, don't worry about it. We, you know what I'm saying? We cool. And then that's when she sort of went in and she was just like, you know, the time, like, you know, because at the time I was working, but I was still hosting this neo soul, like, radio show. And so that's another reason, you know, she was listening to the show. So she was sort of like a fan of the show. And so we would have conversations about music and all this kind of stuff. And she was just like, man, you funny, you got intelligence, you know, whatever. You just need to be in front of the right people. And that's never going to happen for you if you stay in Ohio. It was like, you need to come out here and just stay with me. And I'm telling you, you will meet all the people you need to meet and all the opportunities will just start to open up to you. She was just like, man, I done been places and I done heard stuff that it's just amazing. Like, these people really aren't talented. And I was like, what do you mean? And she was just like, look, you can grab a script off of any person in LA and it's halfway decent. She said it's the people who put the money into these films and into these actors and actresses. It's almost like investments. Like, you can make anybody famous if they got the right support. And I got to thinking about it and I'm like, well, you kind of right, because some of these people, you could tell by their acting performances, they really not talented. You know what I'm saying? They more so was put in a situation that was advantageous to them. Like, it just really was a good space. We had this good conversation or whatever. We went out, we went to a pre-party for like the Grammys or whatever, and it was a real cool spot. Now, she was introducing me to people that I didn't know, but obviously they were famous, they were movers and shakers, because I mean, I eventually would see these same people like in the audience of award shows, and I'd be like, oh, that's the dude I was with that night. You know what I'm saying? But at this time, I didn't know anybody, I didn't know anything. So we had a really good night, everything started to go really well. Then her phone started ringing. And all three of her phones start ringing. And she was like, anytime all three of my phones start ringing, man, it's about to get crazy. She was like, she called me over and she was like, hey, the two dudes, Rocco and Smith, right? That was the two Crips right there, Rocco and Smith. And she was like, hey, did they say anything to you earlier or anything like that? And I was like, nah, we went and stopped and got some chicken, They went and helped me get the trucks. We got the trucks, took them over there, And she was just like, they done did some weird stuff. That's why I don't really like fooling with them. And I'm like, what you mean? She's like, yeah, something came up missing. And I'm like, oh. And I ain't know them all like that either. So, and she was like, this is why I don't fool with them, because stuff like this happen. And I'm like, okay, well, what is we supposed to do? And she's like, we got to find them too. And I'm like, I don't know nobody in LA. I mean, what are we supposed to do? So that's what I'm saying. This whole thing then turned into a whole intricate mission now. And I'm like, and get, look, peep this. I'm still high from earlier. Like, I'm still high. I don't know what was in that weed, but that was not regular weed. That was not Ohio weed. That was not Northern Lights. That was not GH14. That was not, no, that was some California X-Men mutagen weed. Like, I had a superpower after I smoked that weed. So I was like, hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. I mean, them seem like two stand-up dudes. Is there any way, you know where they stay at? Let's go talk to them. And she was like, yeah, they stay together. They boyfriend and boyfriend. And I'm like, boyfriend and boyfriend? She was like, yeah, they gay as hell. And I was like, what? Now, if y'all got to visualize, not saying gay dudes can't be, it's just they did not know. I didn't think. And yeah. And so we go to their crib. We pull up to their crib, right? We walk in. We knock on the door. They open the door. What's up, big homie? What's up? You know what I'm saying? So they let us in or whatever. Now they crib, it's like crazy, like interesting. Like Martha Stewart decorated their house. Like, I mean, just craftsman style, feature wall. Definitely not the house of gang members. Like you understand when I say gang members, I mean these dudes had tattoos on their face, you know, colors on, like, you know, crip walking, like these is like the dudes that you see in the movies and the TV and, you know, in jail. So when I get into Martha's Vineyard at their house, I'm like, so the dude Smith, he come downstairs and he like, I already know what you want. I already know what you want. And we ain't got it. Man, catch me in part 3. Catch me in part 3. All I can say is catch me in part 3. Whitney Houston. That's Whitney Houston. Just stay tuned. Because I don't even know how we even got there.